What is your take on all the false prophecies about Donald Trump's re election? How can we trust prophets anymore?
Well, for me, I look at politics through a gospel lens. So I evaluate political parties, politicians, leaders from the perspective of, are they being helpful to the gospel or not helpful? And so that's how I look at it. And that causes me to be less emotionally wrapped up in political leaders. I'm interested in politics, and so is my co-host here today, Nathan Thurber. We talk about it, but I'm less emotionally involved. And so when it comes to the presidency of Donald Trump and the disastrous end to that presidency and that administration, my greatest concern, as my friends here in the ministry know, has been not what President Trump did or said when he was in office, but the reaction of born again, spirit filled believers who got so emotionally caught up in this. And some of them to the point of starting to prophesying. And, I didn't say anything at the time. I did I should say I said some things. I kept saying that don't worship a man, don't think that he's a savior. But in our conversations, we brought it up often that this was a tragedy, how Christians were wrapping everything around one person. This was disastrous, and it is disastrous today, so we need to face that. And prophecy, the spirit of it, is the testimony of Jesus Christ. And where did we get the idea that God's focus is on 4% of the world's population living in the United States of America, and then all the nuances, and so is going to be president, and so is going to do this and that? God is just as interested in Mongolia. He's just as much interested in Niger or Morocco or whatever other country. And so we got caught. That's my biggest concern. And so get emotionally involved with the gospel. Sorry here, Megan, I'm getting carried away here. Get emotionally involved with Jesus Christ, and then you realize politicians come and go. They're here for a while. They have a good turn at it, and then you see good things. So when I say all this about Donald Trump, I'm glad for some of the things he did. He didn't start a war, and he was helpful towards the pro-life causes. I'm glad for that. But I never was hanging my hat on that. My hat is hanging on Jesus Christ. And so prophecy, what is it? It's for edification, exhortation, and comfort. And it's the testimony of Jesus Christ. And once in a while, there was a prediction like Agabus, who told Paul that you're going to suffer certain things when you go to Rome. And then the validity of that is proven by that it actually happens. And so the so-called prophecies about so-and-so is going to be elected, namely Donald Trump, for another term, that's blithering nonsense. Oh, someone says, oh, Peter, you don't despise prophesying. I am not. I'm despising blithering nonsense. Prophecy, ooh, that's precious. It's precious. Never despise that. And so people are just, and I'm really despising when people invoke the name of God to blithering nonsense. Okay, I better stop. Megan, how are we doing? Nathan, you want to jump in there? Go ahead.
All I can say is, I've worked with you 20 years now. You've been pretty consistent. This was going on before Trump came around.
Yeah.
You told me this about Nixon and other. I mean, you've been it's a very consistent message. Unfortunately, maybe Helen's in the group, but it's hurting our gospel cause. People are turned off by this blithering nonsense, as you say.
All right, Megan, go ahead.
All right, moving on to the next question. Here we go. This is coming from Karen. I'm having a terrible problem with my family. Although we are Canadians, we constantly argue about U.S. politics. It's taking the peace away from our home. What should we do?
Well, I've heard instances of good Christians almost getting into a fist fight, over this. So I would say, here's my answer to that question, which is a very valid question. Listen to the previous answer I gave and practice that, and you will have more peace in your home.